Carlos Alcaraz is into his first Australian Open final. He's now reached the final stage of all 4 Grand Slams, the youngest player to ever do it. Will he be playing Jannik Sinner or Djokovic? We'll find out very soon. But let's talk about a crazy semi-final between Sasha Zverev and Carlos Alcaraz.
Crazy is the right word, and it goes down as the longest Australian Open semi-final in history. What a match. It was dramatic. It seemed straightforward. JG was probably rubbing his hands together when it was 2 sets to love. It looked like plain sailing. Well, not quite. It was 2 tough sets, but he was closing them out. And then midway through that 3rd set, a sprint to the net. Suddenly, Alcaraz in trouble. It looked like cramping. We didn't know if it was an injury, but I think it was cramping. And that's the thing, that there was a big controversy. He obviously managed to get to the changeover and then started receiving treatment on cramps. Where do we go from here, JG? It was a wild thing that was going on.
Well, I guess we go back to the 3rd set, because the first 2 sets, I feel Alcaraz was in control. Like you said, They were close sets, but he was in control. And for me, without the cramps, this was a straight sets victory every day of the week. I could see him doing the same thing in the 3rd, but that wasn't the case. And the heat, the day session, the fact that he's played obviously a lot of tennis, same with Zverev as well, so it's the same conditions for both players. But Alcaraz, we saw him cramping and struggling. I mean, this is not something we've seen from him that all too often. It's more prevalent in players like a Jannik Sinner. But the one I recall is obviously at Roland Garros a few years ago. I think it was the semi-final against Novak Djokovic. I forget how many years ago. Was it 3 years, 4 years?
Possibly, yeah, quite a while.
But in that one, we saw him lose that match to Djokovic because of the pressure and the cramping. This is a high-pressure situation as well. He's never made a final of the Australian Open. But I've got so much to say for what happened after that, because the first 2 sets, he did what he needed to do. We had the cramping. We'll speak about the cramping incident and the fact that he received a medical timeout, which Zverev was not happy about in a second. But what then happened after that was something nothing short of inspiring, incredible. It gave me shivers, really, looking at it, watching Carlos Alcaraz. Very reminiscent of the big 3. Very, very reminiscent of Rafael Nadal in these big moments. Novak Djokovic as well. As much as he's not my main guy, Novak Djokovic can do this. He does this regularly. He fights through moments where he looks down and out and has nothing left, and he comes through and wins the match. This Carlos Alcaraz is a mental giant. He, for me, has a mentality already at such a young age of the big 3 in tennis. In the 5th set, Zverev is serving for the match, in which Carlos Alcaraz manages to break him and then win before getting to the tiebreak, taking some real big risks as well, hitting a fantastic winner. It was a really good serve on match point from Zverev, in which Alcaraz managed to somehow return. And then Zverev come to the net and he managed to do a ridiculous passing shot. I mean, the shots from Alcaraz today, when he physically was not quite there, you could see his movement. He was really fatigued. He was physically really struggling. Hopefully he can get some rest and make the final competitive. But he's going to be really sore tomorrow. Look at this. Alcaraz, he holds from 15-40 at 2-3, holds from love 30 at 3-4, and love 30 at 4-5, and he won 4 consecutive points in them situations, then arrived back at 5-all. This is a mental giant. With Zverev, if you hang in there, you will see some weaknesses from him. And there was a few wayward points, really, from him. A really poor forehand to set up the match point for Alcaraz in the 5th. But you're going to get them from Zverev. He has a history of doing that, but I'm not going to be ripping into him. I think he did play a really good match and served very well right up until the end, to be fair. Even the last point on match point, It wasn't like a bottled serve. It was a good serve. So we can't be too harsh about that. But let's wind back to the medical timeout.
Yes, obviously in the second set as well, we got to remember that Carlos was down a break. He was 5-3 down in the second set. Zverev was serving for the second set as well. So he was in this match all
He
the
played
way
well.
through. He did play a very good match. And I can understand him being disgruntled at the point where Alcaraz had the cramps. Obviously, Alcaraz still had to get through a game to be able to get to the chair. And he managed to get through that game by just hitting big and trying to hit winners. He couldn't move, essentially. He ended up getting to the chair and then started receiving what appeared to be a medical timeout for something that he was not giving any game away. He wasn't saying what it was. He was just saying he had a problem on his inner thigh or groin area. But Zverev came straight to the umpire, started complaining and saying, essentially, I'm not going to dress it up. He said, this is bullshit. He's like, that's cramp. You're not allowed to receive a medical timeout for cramp. He's like, you're always protecting these guys, Sinner and Alcaraz. And he's like, this is just totally unfair, essentially. How are you allowing this to happen? And for once, I agree with Sasha Zverev. I don't understand why this was allowed to happen. Obviously, we saw Alcaraz drinking pickle juice between every changeover after that. He was necking the stuff. If you give him a pint, he would have probably just downed the whole thing. He was trying his best to get back in there. He was staying silent. He didn't want any part of the conversation going on. And he knew what was happening. He was just trying to stay focused, stay in this, try not to get involved in this disagreement, and don't play it off like it is cramp. And hopefully this passes in the match. And he just had to hang in there. Like you say, Sasha Zverev played well, but you know that if you can hang in there for long enough, like he did, and he started to come round in the fifth. Yeah. What do you make of the whole cramping situation, medical timeout, that type of thing? Do you think there's favorable stuff going on here? I know it's a bit of a cloud over what
That's what
was like
Zverev said. That's what he said. He said him and Sinner, Alcaraz and Sinner get favourable treatment in these situations. And if you look at the rules, you could maybe agree, but I don't recall maybe Sinner getting this treatment with a medical timeout because it was different for him. And with the rules, treatment for cramps is totally legal. A medical timeout is what's not allowed. You can get treatment at the changeovers 3 times. Alcaraz could have also utilised a toilet break after the set, in which he didn't. So
yeah, I know.
there was. So I don't think it's gamesmanship at all from Alcaraz. It's just a case of he's really cramping. The umpire should not have allowed him to have a medical timeout for cramps.
Exactly.
That is the rules.
Yeah.
So on that basis, Zverev is correct in saying that he's got favourable treatment in this situation. What has Alcaraz said to the umpire? I'm not sure. Who's to say? He might have said, "Oh, I've got a pain in my groin. I think it's some kind of muscle problem." Or
I could see it. Like, I don't know if anybody else could see it, but when he sat down and he started getting it massaged, you know, if you get cramp, you see the muscle sometimes go like pulse, like it goes like boom, boom, boom.
yeah,
I saw it do that when he was sitting there, and you could see the inner groin bit go boom, boom, and I was like, "That's cramp." It doesn't normally like.
there's no doubts about what it is. We all know it's cramp. Alcaraz will know it's cramp, but has he declared that it's cramp? Maybe not. I mean, I'd hope not, because
it's the umpire.
Cramp. The umpire. Why are they allowing the medical timeout then? I don't think Alcaraz has declared it is cramp, because otherwise the umpire
so annoyed. That's
why the umpire's not followed the rules.
Yeah, and we fall into this like grey area now where you just feel sorry for Zverev in this type of situation, because would he have got the same treatment had the shoe been on the other foot? And I don't probably think so. I think he feels that he'll be hard done by, and he'll probably be made to retire from the match, or he would just be made to struggle on back onto the court or something. Yeah, it's one of those where I've got a bit of a head scratcher from everything that's transpired as well, because there's part of me that feels that the organizers have tried to protect Yannick Sinner by not giving him the day match, thinking that Alcaraz can probably handle the heat. And it's totally backfired, and Alcaraz couldn't handle the heat from what we saw. And he's the one who nearly went out, the world number one, and they nearly didn't have him in the final. But Zverev, credit to him, his body always holds up, doesn't it? I don't see Zverev with these problems in these long, grueling matches. It's just upstairs where he struggles.
Yeah, he does have a little bit more experience, though, Zverev. He's been around for some time. We often forget that. As much as he's not won a slam, he's
Yeah.
been and competed in so many slams. We've seen him in finals. There's a lot of experience he holds. Not to say Alcaraz doesn't have it, because he's played a lot of slam matches now at such a young age, and now got to all 4 slam finals. Something else, a crazy stat I've just sent you, is Alcaraz holds a 15-1 record in 5-setters. Which is actually incredible. He's just won 12 in a row. His last loss 4 years ago at the Australian Open, January 22, against Matteo Berrettini. There's not many players better in the world in 5 sets than Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? Especially in this type of one. And the moment I think everybody realized, oh, he's fully back, was in that fifth. I think it was at 5-4, was it? And Zverev did the drop shot, and you hadn't seen Alcaraz scamper and get a winner in a while. And he finally did it again. He sprinted into the net, slid, and then the cross court, like the slightest touch cross court just to play the winner. And I just thought, oh no, Zverev, this is terrible for you now, because now in his mind he's thinking, oh no, I'm now playing a uncompromised Alcaraz now.
Yeah.
And now his mental side is probably now going to go and start depleting. Alcaraz was now on the up because he just won one of those big moments, got all the crowd on his side as well, was going finger to the ear, going, come on, getting them all going. And at the end he said, yeah, believing. I'm just believing all the time. And his heart was what got him through today more than anything.
Yeah, what a warrior, by the way. We've always known he's like that, but he's a mental giant. I said it at the start. This is a big free player. This is tennis heritage, Carlos Alcaraz. I was not in disbelief. I was just in awe watching him, because I know he's got that in him, but to see it displayed in the fashion which we did just now was amazing. And I actually think he's going to be okay for the final. I'm not sure what your thoughts are, but there's going to be some doubts, because going through, what was it? I don't know if you've got the clock there. 5-hour 27.
Yeah, 5-hour 27.
The longest Australian Open semi-final in history. You can see him on the floor as well, exhausted. You'd think that that's going to take a lot out of players for the next match when he's not got much of a turnaround, and then to play a final against Novak Djokovic or Yannick Sinner is going to be a really big ask. But I think if anyone can do it, it's Carlos Alcaraz, and I'm expecting him to be at a good level for it.
Yeah, it will be later in the day as well, I think, for the final. I don't think it will be played more towards the evening than it will be towards the afternoon. And obviously, those first 2 sets were over 2 hours in total, and it was in over 30-degree heat. So that won't be a factor as much when we get to the final anyway. Yannick Sinner's just got super lucky. Didn't have to play his day match. It makes me feel like now, what would we have seen if we'd have got Djokovic versus Sinner in the daytime? Because I think maybe Djokovic would have handled it slightly better, considering what we've seen. But it's all hearsay at the moment.
That's a hearsay thing to say. We don't know. Sinner might have been completely fine, and Djokovic could have struggled. It's not impossible to suggest. So that's a ridiculous argument. I'm not even going to go down that.
I think it would be more even, though. That's the thing. Like with these 2 semi-finals, I think the one thing that everybody agreed was Alcaraz versus Zverev looked on paper like the closer match, and the only way that you would even up the other one would be by putting it on in the daytime. But what they went for is, we want Sinner in the final, so we put it at night, and we probably want Alcaraz, and he'll beat Zverev whatever conditions, so we'll whack it in the day. But it nearly backfired. But that's my conspiracy brain thinking that the tennis world is trying to get these 2 into a final again. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Well, we've not got there yet, because we've still got Djokovic, Yannick Sinner, and I think it could be a really good match after watching that. maybe not straight sets. So let's see what Novak Djokovic has to offer. We're going to go and watch that very soon. And thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts about that ridiculous semi-final. Carlos Alcaraz, I'm lost for words. He's just amazing. Some brilliant tennis at times. Zverev, I think, has made a big claim to say, I'm still here. I'm number 3 in the world, or I can be number 3 in the world. So very fascinating. And I think this battle between Alcaraz and Zverev has given me a little bit more respect for Zverev, actually, in one way, because Alcaraz, I kind of knew he can do this. I didn't know he had this amount of fight at this young age already. But all in all, fantastic semi-final match, and finally we get a competitive one.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It added to the drama. It leveled the playing field. If anything, Alcaraz having this problem in the middle of the match, but everyone's going to look at that and go, oh, well, it should have been straight sets if he didn't have the problem. Yeah, but tennis takes multiple things to be able to beat someone in straight sets, or to even beat them at all. And you have to have your body in check, as well as your skills, as well as your legs, as well as your everything, your head. It's a whole package thing. So what Carlos Alcaraz had today that won him the match was heart. He might not have had the legs, but the heart came through in the end.
Yeah, and the names of players who have reached all 4 Grand Slams in the Open era: Laver, Rosewall, Lendl, Edberg, Courier, Agassi, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, Sinner, and Alcaraz. Incredible list. I mean, the very best. The what's it called? The creme de la creme. And Alcaraz is in that list now. But let's leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll bring a reaction and a final preview after Jannik Sinner, Novak Djokovic. See you soon.